Wow, it's season 2 of our Friday night hangout. I am super excited. We got through season 1 with 30 episodes. Yes, we did it. And we can do more with this season 2. So invite your family, your friends, anyone who you think will benefit from listening and sharing, interacting with us on the Friday night hangout. We are starting strong in this season 2. We are going to unleash a number of thematic contents that will keep you ongoing, keep you focused, and keep you very intentional. We are also going to hone your different skill sets in finance, in business, in your personal life. Please come prepared. This is an upgraded season 2. Don't forget, join us every Friday night at 7 p.m. on Facebook Live at Professor Joy Onyesoh Facebook page. Prof. Joy Onyesoh, one word. See you there. Don't be left out. Hey! It's Friday night hangout. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Who is in the house? Welcome, Oziama. Welcome, Theodora. Welcome, Amy. Welcome, Success. Welcome, Ngozi. Welcome, Sean George. Welcome, Jane. Welcome, Njideka. Welcome, Nasiba. Who is in the house? I'm super excited. The way I'm smiling there, you don't know I had a very, very hectic week, but I'm so happy. Every time it's Friday night, I'm always happy. I'm always excited. Good evening to everyone in Hechi, Adora. How are you all doing today? I hope you came in all fully prepared, excited. Don't worry about all the stress. Put it behind. And let's be focused today because we are going to have lots of fun tonight. I want to see your thank God. It's Friday night. Thank God it's Friday night. I want to see TGIF. Yay. Good. Just keep it coming in. I'm doing great, Adora. I'm doing great. How are you? I'm always so happy to see you all here. Thank you for making out time to join me every Friday night for our Friday night hangout. And I remain your host, Joy Onyesoh. This is our safe space where we have conversations on topical issues. We build our skill set and enhance our capacity on different areas. We always bring in some guests who have broken grounds in the different endeavors to inspire us and also to just pour into us. And in this month of February, we've been discussing business and finance, a very key topic for women especially. And we've taken you through different aspects of business and finance. We've talked about what business process is all about, how to manage your business process, how to set up systems. We've talked about your mindset. We've talked about a whole lot of issues in this month of February. And to cap up our conversations in the month of February, we have an amazing Amazon in the house who is excited. Yes, she's going to be taking us through an area that is male dominated and women rarely have so much knowledge on, especially in our climate. We don't like to discuss it. We don't like to deal with it. And that is taxation. Taxes. What do you need to know about taxes as an entrepreneur? It is not just about making money. It is not just about putting your money in the bank. There are certain taxes that you need to know about as a business owner, depending on your business structure. And so tonight I have an expert in that field, Kelechi. She's already ready, and she's going to take us on taxation. Just basic tips. So don't worry. I know some of you say, I'm not a finance person. No, I don't like to know the figures or the numbers. But remember what we discussed this month. You need to know, if you're a business owner, you need to know a little bit about everything about your business. So you need to get informed, even if you're not an expert. And so our conversation today would really be to just give you that basic knowledge you need to know. And so that when you perhaps have a taxation lawyer or an auditor come in, you would really know, have some ideas. You not say, oh, I don't know. You would really know what to do to put your books in order. So, who else is excited? I want to say TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. I want the energy to be high. High energy, high energy. Taxation, taxation. Oh my goodness. I love this taxation. Indeka says taxation. Theodora says taxation. Amy says, I'm so excited. Theodora, I'm so excited. I am excited as well. I am super excited. Yes, yes, yes. I'm going to add a guest on. I'm going to add a guest on. And before I do that, I need to announce the winners. The winners from last week. So we have two winners for the post shares for last week. Thank you so much, first of all, for everyone who make out time to share the replays every Friday or beyond. Thank you so much. But for the replay share winners, we just have two winners. And congratulations to Nasiba Yakubu. Congratulations, Jane Wosu. Both of you have won yourself a cash prize of 2,500 naira each. Please, let's congratulate Nasiba Yakubu and Jane Wosu. Congratulations. Hey, these two is like they're winning the prizes every week, huh? It's like they're winning the prizes every week. Nasiba, congratulations. Jane, congratulations. I'm super excited. You will get your cash prize as usual. Wow, Nasiba, you're a winner. You're a multiple time winner. Congratulations. And for the YouTube, we are wrapping up the YouTube competition this week. So it's all wrapped up. We have two winners. We have Ifacho Blessing. Congratulations. You've won yourself a cash prize of 5,000 naira. And Princess Dindu, congratulations. You've won yourself a cash prize of 5,000 naira. Congratulations to our YouTube winners. These two persons, got 20 subscribers or more each. They had a minimum of 20 subscribers who subscribed to my YouTube channel. So congratulations, Ipacho Blessing. She said, yes, sir. Congratulations, Princess Dindun. I love you both. And thank you so much. So I will say keep sharing the replay. So after this week episode, don't forget to share the replay. Are you all ready now to receive our Amazon and our guest? Get ready. If you don't have writing materials, I'll ask you at this point to get your writing materials. And remember, let's keep it interactive. You have questions. This is our safe space. This is where we have conversations. Feel free to ask your questions. Feel free to put your comments in the chat box. And let's keep it interactive. And so it's with so much pleasure and excitement that I add our guests. Welcome, Kelechi. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. Please join me in welcoming our Amazon, our taxation lawyer, our guru, Kelechi. Please help me and welcome her. Keep the welcome coming in. Give her the Friday night welcome. I have no doubt you know how to welcome our guests. Keep it coming
in. Thank you, everyone.
Keep it coming in. Great. Yes. Welcome. So we're saying welcome to you.
We're
super excited to have you. And honestly, I just want to say thank you. I know you've had a very hectic, jam-packed week, and you still made out time to be with us here today. I do not take it for granted at all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so today, I will hand over to you to do some self-introduction. Tell us more about you. We want to know more about you. And then we can go into our topic for today, which is basic tips on taxation for entrepreneurs. So just self-introduce.
Okay, I'll start by saying thank you so much for having me on Friday Night Hangout. It's a very interesting headline and name of the show. It's very exciting to be with this vibrant network of entrepreneurs. And I hope that above everything, we have a very good and interactive session. Yeah. Okay, so my name is Kelechi Ugbeva, and I help businesses become more tax efficient and compliant. So I'm a tax consultant, I'm a tax lawyer, and I work in a law firm called Blackwood and Stone, which I founded myself actually in 2017. So prior to 2017, I have worked in top Nigerian law firms. The last one I worked at was a global tax and legal law practice. So they carried out tax and legal services prior to the setting up of Blackwood and Stone. Blackwood and Stone is located in Lagos. We provide tax advisory, compliance, and litigation services to clients across board. And then, because we're also a law firm, we provide legal services. So it's corporate and commercial law services. So it cuts across tax and legal. And interestingly, Blackwood and Stone is part of a global network that is in over 100 countries. So it's very easy for us to tap into our global network to be able to provide efficient solutions to our various clients, So, but again, I know when you hear global, it sounds, oh my God, are we just talking global here? No, we have individual clients, entrepreneurs, SMEs, family-owned businesses, multinational enterprises as well. We're able to provide advisory services, compliance across board. Um, Again, it's interesting to be here. Apart from being a lawyer, I'm also on the board of the Nigerian Belgian Chamber of Commerce. So I'm able to facilitate trade to an extent. And we have successfully facilitated trade between Belgium and Nigeria. I'm happy to be here. And that's it for now. Over to you, Prof. Are we frozen? Um, Prof, can you hear me?
Hey, see, she's a. Sorry, I had a network lapse. It happens periodically. So, if we're having conversation and I disappear, I'm still here. Just go on with the conversation. So, thank you so much, Kelechi. It's so exciting to have you here. And let me mention, please, that I'm also one of our clients, Abby.
Yes.
So I'm a new client, and I'm super excited to be her client. And you know, so please, we're going to talk about how you can reach her after the show. So please feel free to reach out to her for advice, for consultancy, and she's really, really, really women centered. So she knows she's very, warm and open and ready to walk you through the process. Okay, I see so many excited people here just waiting to hear about taxation. So we'll get the ball in. And I'll hand over to you, Kelechi, to just take us through what really, taxation is all about, what kind of taxation, all of that. You're the expert here. So we hand over to you to lead us through the conversations and we'll be asking questions. And so if you have any questions, as usual, please just put it in the chat box and we'll get to answer your question. So, Kelechi, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I forgot to add something while I was preparing for today and this evening. I said to myself I was definitely going to add this thing, and I actually left it out, but thank God I've remembered. Part of my profile is that I am also a taxpayer. So we're all on the same side. We're all on the same side. Okay, so I'm planning to make this as interactive. Taxation is not one of the favorite topics that people just want to sit down on a Friday night. My understanding of a Friday night hangout would be to maybe have a drink in your hand and then just be chilling. So we're going to make it as interactive and as fun and simple as possible. That's the mandate I got from Prof. So let's go. So basically, tax obligations. I have my slides right in front of me. So you see me looking at my slides just to be able to go with an outline. So initially, I'm going to talk about a little bit on the various taxes. I will just go over them in summary, and then I would now discuss the various business structures and which of the taxes would apply to the applicable business structures. And then I think after that, that would be a good place to pause and take questions, or I don't know how Prof would want us to take it. Okay, so for tax obligations, we all know that as long as we have a business or an enterprise, in Nigeria we call enterprises business names, but if you have a business, obviously you have tax obligations. In fact, even individuals are liable to pay taxes in Nigeria. It's very important for businesses and individuals to understand the various tax regimes, the various tax methods, or the taxes that apply to their specific affairs or business, or the way you've structured your activity. So Nigerian law requires companies that have registered in Nigeria. If you've registered your business name, your limited liability company under Nigerian law, you're required to pay taxes. It's literally as simple as that. It's very easy for small businesses to be under the tax radar. So, you've been in operation. A lot of companies would have been in operation for 15 years, 12 years, 10 years, and then they're just getting by without paying taxes. And most times we believe that the tax authorities are focused on the big companies or the multinational companies. So for us here in Lagos, and I'm sure there's a lot of people in Lagos in the audience as well, over time, we've noticed that the tax authorities, especially the state inland revenue, have started to visit shopping malls even, to give them letters of compliance and assessments, mandatory assessments. In fact, I remember 2 years ago, someone even called me to say they were in a very popular shopping mall in Lekki Phase 1, and the LIRS had come to seal up their store. So more and more with the prevailing economic crisis and all the situations on ground, the tax authorities are devising means to be able to get to these small businesses. Even from Instagram, there's a whole lot of people selling on Instagram. When the tax authorities, you would be surprised that they're able to go on Instagram and figure out the businesses that are lucrative, and to your dismay, they might send you an assessment or a demand notice. But that aside, let me talk to the people that feel that, okay, I'm not in a shopping mall. You also have to ask yourself what you want to achieve with your business. Sometimes if you want to expand, or if you want to go global, as we originally talked about in my introduction, that your global partners or your global shareholders, even some of your bigger shareholders or investors, who want to see that you are compliant. And one of the things, if they're going to do a due diligence or they're going to do a check on your company for you to get to the next level with independent investors or global partners, they want to be sure that you're doing the right thing, complying with taxes and any other laws applicable to your industry. So I hope I've been able to convince you that even as a small business, as an entrepreneur, as an SME, big company, it's important to consider paying your taxes, even if you think you're under the tax radar. And I will take you back to my statement that I'm also a taxpayer. I'm not the tax authority, so it's just my introduction. I'm going to quickly run over. There are two layers of taxation in Nigeria. So we have the federal taxes and the state taxes. The federal taxes are taxes that are collected by the Federal Inland Revenue Service. That's very popular. We all know FIRS. The FIRS. So there's companies income tax. There's value-added tax. That's the VAT. I think VAT is the most popular tax that we all know about. Then there's withholding tax, education tax, and stamp duties. So I'll just go over company income tax very briefly. So for limited liability companies, so I had said that I'll go through the taxes first, and then maybe as a summary, just divide the types of businesses, and then we can move on. for limited liability companies, there's companies income tax, and once it's supposed to be filed annually, and it's filed based on the profits of a company. Originally, there was a flat rate of companies income tax, flat rate of 30%, and then there's education tax of 2% that every limited liability company, every company is to have borne initially. But in 2020, the Finance Act of 2019 was enacted, and the law divided companies. So it now defined companies and divided companies into 3 different categories. So we have small companies. Small companies are companies with a yearly revenue of 25 million naira or below. And now, under the new tax regime, if you have a small company where your revenue falls below 25 million, then you're exempt. It's 0% tax. There's no taxes applicable to you. But this doesn't mean that you're free from the filing obligations. Okay, so I see Prof smiling, and she has a very nice smile. I think that smile is like, let's diffuse it a little. Let's diffuse this serious face a bit. So then we have medium-sized companies, and for the medium-sized companies, they are companies that have a revenue of between 25 million naira and 100 million naira. For these companies, there's a 20% tax rate that is applicable to them. And then we have the big companies that have a revenue of 100 million naira and above, and then they still maintained the 30% company income tax rate. So if you have a limited liability company, you should be able to understand where you fall. And the profit is determined after you have removed your expenses, but I understand that this is your finance week month, so you've probably had an accountant or someone that has maybe explained that aspect to you. So we quickly go into value added tax. Prof, is that okay?
Yes, very okay, please. Yeah.
Okay. So value added tax is very popular. That's the VAT. It's a value added tax is a consumer tax. So it's borne by the user or the consumer of a good or service. So the end consumer of goods and services bears the tax. But as a business owner, enterprise, limited liability, whatever structure you have, you are like an agent to the government. So businesses are required to register and obtain a VAT number. It's the same thing as your TIN number now, but you're required to register for VAT. And then you're required to charge VAT on behalf of the government. So when we say VAT, it's not being borne by the business. It's being borne by the end user of those products or those services. There's some products that are exempt. There's a whole long list of products that are exempt. I'm happy to share that list with Prof, and maybe we can put them in the on YouTube or Facebook, or I'm happy to share the list with her, because you would find that one good example are your basic food items, your baby items. All those items are exempt from tax. So there's no tax. Not tax, VAT. So there's no VAT when you're purchasing such items, and so many more, to be honest. So originally, before the Finance Act, and it was very popular, it was all over the news, VAT was 5%, but it was increased in 2020 as well to 7.5%. So VAT now is applicable, and you as the business owner, if you are providing services or you have goods, you're selling goods or you're dealing with goods that are VATable, your invoices are required to have a 7.5% VAT, and you are required to ensure that you remit that VAT before the 21st of every month to the Federal Inland Revenue Service. So it's a federal tax. Then there's education tax. I'm not going to say so much about education tax. It's 2%. Companies are expected to pay 2% education tax alongside their company income tax that we mentioned earlier. There's also stamp duties. Stamp duties are payable on instruments documents, instruments of transfer, conveyances, bills of exchange, promissory notes, agreements, and then also just recently in the past year or so, there was a whole lot of information and so much all over the news everywhere about stamp duties, how the banks had now decided if you have a transaction of 10,000 naira or above, then there's now a 50 naira stamp duty accruable to you, except if it's your same, you're transferring to the same bank account that is owned by the same person in the same bank. Every other transaction above 10,000 naira would now be chargeable of stamp duty of 50 naira. That's what the law says, and yeah, that's it for stamp duties. So should we take a little break before we go to personal income tax, or we just carry on?
Yeah, let's take some questions, because I see some questions, and I also have some questions as well.
Okay.
And then have then we can take a break and we go into the personal income tax. So let me start with Njideka's question. Njideka says, well, she says that the bank has finished her with taxes, that the stamp is still going on. So is the question actually, is it meant to be going on? Has it been stopped, or is it legally, on?
The legal provisions for the applicability of stamp duties of 50 naira on every 10,000 and above transaction. So banks are charging it, and let's also remember that they would be required to remit it. So it's not the bank's. Technically, it's not really the bank's income. It's the federal tax, taxation agency, FIRS, and the federal government.
This is really very helpful, because most of us feel that, because each time there's a transaction, you see the stamp duty, we see the holiday tax, we see if it's weekend that you do transaction, you see holiday tax, or one of us, everybody's wondering what is all these fees they're just collecting from us. But this stamp duty is really good that that this is being said here. So we know that this is being remitted to the government. So it's not just for the institution, it's a legal obligation. And you're asking about what about SMS alerts? She just said here that whatever.
Those are not even taxes. The SMS alert fees are not taxes. They're bank. Those are the bank duties. So the bank has a commission. So I'm not a bank expert. I know about taxation. But when you hear SMS charges, that means they're charging you from the bank. It's not the tax authorities that are charging you for SMS. Yeah.
Yes. So I hope you get that. The SMS alert falls into the service charges of the bank, because they're sending you messages and they have to pay for those messages. So that's why, just like when you do bulk messages, so you need to pay to do the bulk message, even though the charges are not the same as when you do individual SMS. So that's where maybe we would plan to have a banker come on board to explain these charges that we get. That would be helpful, and then we can have a field day with the banker. I feel so sorry for the banker.
You should get a government regulator from CBN.
Exactly. That's good. Now I have a question in regards to the small company. You're talking about the Finance Act of 2019, and then you talked about the small companies whose income falls below 25 million as not having any tax to pay at all.
So they're exempt, not any tax. They will be exempt from companies' income tax.
Thank you very much. So sole proprietorship falls into that kind of business, is it?
So that's what I was saying, that after we've discussed the various taxes, then we can now talk about the business structures. So a sole proprietorship does not pay company income tax. They pay personal income tax, because I'm sure when you incorporated, the incorporation document come with like a piece of paper that explains to you that as a business name, sole proprietorship, enterprise, you are not separate from your business. It's considered an individual. So taxation of sole proprietorships would be personal income tax to your state inland revenue service, and it depends on what state you're located in. So in Lagos, it will be the Lagos Inland Revenue Service.
Thank you so much. That's very helpful. Okay, so let's allow some of us to just digest this a bit, and then we'll take some interlude and then come back. But we're still here. We have some giveaways that we do. So this is time to take the giveaways to make people happy. Are we ready to go? Now, 10 persons to type into the chat box taxation and your number. You get a free subscription data of 500 naira. So taxation, listen to the instructions. I didn't say put in thank God it's Friday. I said taxation. I want to keep you fully aware and conscious of what we're discussing. So taxation and your phone number. The first 10 persons to put it in, you'll get a cash prize of, yes, I have my first winner. Njideka, congratulations. Charlotte Deja, congratulations. Success. Okay, so keep it coming in. So while the numbers are coming in, I want to pick up 2 questions.
Wow, I can't see the questions. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay,
while we
yes.
wait for Prof. Okay.
We asked that the stamp duties for, she was asking how much is the charge for stamp duties for the federal government stamp.
Okay, that's a good question. So there's a scale that is fixed by the tax authorities, and it really depends on the transaction. So there's a scale, there's a graduating scale. So it depends. Sorry, there's a scale. So it really depends on the transaction that you're doing. Then we would now be able to go to that memorandum, go and look at the scale, and then we can advise on specific transactions, the exact amount or percentage, if it's a percentage. So there are two different ways to charge stamp duties: ad valorem or a particular specific scale of taxes.
Okay. And so how can we get, is it an open document or?
Oh yes, it definitely is. It definitely is. So it will be in the Stamp Duties Act, which maybe everyone would not want to go buy Stamp Duties Act. I assume that if you go online, you should be able, just to be sure that you're getting an updated version. Yeah. And then also depending on what it is that you're planning to stamp. So if it's anything that has to do with the Corporate Affairs Commission, for example, because the stamp duty is paid for certain CAC filings, So on the CAC website, you would find the stamp duty applicable rates. So if it has to do with land, if you go to the land registry, you should be able to find the applicable rates on the land registry website as well. And based on the ease of doing business that we're hearing so much about Nigeria, you should see if there's a stamp duties. Then if you're in Lagos State, there's a stamp duties specific FIRS that is dedicated to stamp duties, that is at Onikon, that area. So you can walk in there, try to get a rate. You can ask me. I'm happy to check the specific rate for your transaction.
Okay, thank you so much. Adora, I hope that, okay, yeah, she's happy with the response. Okay, so we can go into the next phase of the conversation. You wanted to take us through business structures and all those.
Okay. So I was going to talk about personal income tax, but I think to a large extent, with your question about a business enterprise, we have covered a little bit of personal. So personal income tax, obviously, is the tax payable by individuals and registered business names, like a sole proprietorship, an enterprise, and it's depending. Then it's also paid by employees. So personal income tax by employees is what we popularly know as payee, that is paid by employees. So for personal income tax, there is a graduating scale. So the rate is just, it's very, I can quickly run through the scale. So the first 300,000 is taxed at 7%, and then the next 300,000 is taxed at 11%. Then the next 500,000 is taxed at 15%. The next 500 again, 19%. It's not something that you need to know, because you have to be able to get someone to compute it for you. It goes on to what the next 1.6 at 21, and the next 3.2 at 24%. So there's a minimum tax requirement where minimum taxpayers are exempt from tax. If you earn 300,000, 30,000 a month and below, then there's no personal income tax applicable to you. So for the Inland Revenue Service, so FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service, as we had mentioned, for companies' income tax, is the same, is one and the same all over the country. So they've just got different offices in different states. But when it comes to the Inland Revenue Service, it is state specific. The law is the same, so the rates are the same, the penalties are the same, applicability of the law is the same, but Lagos State has theirs, my home state, Imo State, there's Imo State Inland Revenue Service. Every state has an Inland Revenue Service. So you're required to remit your personal income tax for yourself, your employees, and so on and so forth to the state Inland Revenue Service that you are resident in. And that's it really for personal income tax. That's it for personal income tax. So I'll just go through those structures, which along the line of our conversation, we've already discussed. So,
Yes.
For businesses, most businesses, for you to legally carry out a business in Nigeria, and for you to even be able to trade in a name other than your personal name, for you to even open a bank account, you would need to have a legal structure that you've registered at the Corporate Affairs Commission. So there's, for entrepreneurs, the most popular or common options are limited liability companies and registered business names, which would be the sole proprietorship that we had mentioned before. So if you have a limited liability company, you have your directors, you have your shareholders. That is when you fall under all the taxes that we had mentioned, company income tax, there's personal income tax for employees, and then you have value-added tax as well, and you have stamp duties on the federal level if you're dealing with another company, if you're dealing with an individual. So there's some taxes so for example now, stamp duties. If you're paying your rent as a company and rent is being paid to an individual, okay, no, there's no stamp duties on rent. If you're buying a property, if you're buying a land and it needs to be registered and there's an individual, as long as you're having that transaction with an individual on the other end, then the stamp duties would accrue to the state inland revenue. But if it's a company, then it's a federal tax and it's company's income tax. So when it comes to value-added tax now, that is one tax that is applicable to an enterprise, whether you're trading as a business name or you're trading as a limited liability company. So you have, as a business owner, you have the obligation of filing value-added tax. And value-added tax is charged by you as the business owner and filed at the Federal Inland Revenue Service, whether you are a limited liability company or a business name. So if you have a registered business name, Prof, I believe that you also have a bank account. And before you could open that bank account, they asked you that you need to get a TIN number.
Yes.
And the TIN number was from the Federal Inland Revenue Service. And then here today we're saying, oh, no, you don't need to pay company income tax to the FIRS. And you asked the question originally that, oh, so are you saying that if I have a business name and I don't make up to 25 million, I don't need to pay taxes? That's interesting. And I said to you, it's only company income tax, business name, there's nothing like that. So even if you make 25 um, million, you don't have a mandatory obligation to charge VAT. But if you go ahead and charge the VAT, then you are required to make sure that you comply. You can't hide under the radar if you have charged that VAT, because the other person can file that, oh, these are our receipts, we paid VAT, we want to claim, could be anything, okay. So that's it. Then there's withholding tax, and I haven't mentioned withholding tax earlier. Withholding tax for some of us entrepreneurs that have supply contracts with maybe big companies, maybe some, especially like oil companies that want to do the right thing, they want to comply. You will notice that sometimes when you put in your invoice, they will withhold maybe 5% or 10%, and you're wondering to yourself, why are you withholding my money? It's not an additional tax. One of the things you need to make sure that you do is to request that they give you evidence that withholding tax was filed on your behalf. So at the end of the year, when you are filing your annual taxes, the withholding taxes would be deducted from your liabilities, from your tax liability. Yes.
So much. This is it's a very interesting conversation, and I think every business owner out there really needs to listen to them. That's why we have Kelechi in the house. Most of us have registered business names. I know a number of you here have registered business names, and they're asking some very concrete questions.
So
One
let's
question
take the
is, what is the
questions.
benefit
Yeah.
of? One says, what is the benefit of paying tax? Another says, is there any penalty stated for defaulters? So I want us to see if we could answer those two questions.
Okay. So we opened up with some of the benefits of paying taxes. I'll go over them. I'll give you the official reason. Like if you go on Google, the response you will get from Google, the response you will get from the government, is that as a well-meaning citizen of the country, you're required to pay your taxes to support the running of your country as well, running of your state, running of your country. So where there are federal amenities or our roads, it's taxpayers' money that sorts out those federal and state amenities. All things being equal. So that's one of the major benefits of paying taxes. I wouldn't then I had mentioned earlier that as a business owner, you often would need to ask yourself what you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to just remain a one-man sole proprietor, just doing your business? In fact, I even know someone that is not one man, but has a sole proprietorship. He has a really big business that runs into billions. He doesn't want investors. Of course, because his business runs into billions, he's not under the radar. The tax authorities are aware that so he has to pay his taxes. But why I brought up this example, or why I've mentioned this person, is you don't necessarily have to have investors to go global or to go big or whatever it is. But I would say that as a business owner, if you have decided that you want to go global, if you have decided that you want to have investors, if you have decided that you want to have partners. So for me, for example, if someone comes to, maybe because I understand taxation, or maybe because I'm a lawyer, if you've come to me and you said to me, come and invest in my business, even if you want me to invest 50,000 naira, I would like to see that your books are in order. It will show me that you are responsible. It will show me that you mean business. So I'm speaking on behalf of investors now, some investors. It shows that you mean, they want to do a check on on the way you're running your affairs. So it really depends. I have also mentioned that I'm also a taxpayer. I'm not the government. I'm not fixing any roads for anybody. But it depends on you.
Yes, I really love the fact that you say, the vision you have for your business, it's what drives you. So if you don't want to grow your business, if you want to stay under the radar, and when they come looking for you, you're hiding and you're running away, it's your call, really. But there are penalties. They are very stiff. She's going to take us
Oh,
through penalties.
yes.
Benefits are really very great. Now, let me give you one quick instance. I applied for a program that is a discounted program. It's actually a scholarship program. And, in part of the requirements was that I should send my personal income tax for the last 3 years, because the discount I'm getting is being paid by taxpayers' money in that country. So, so if I wasn't paying my tax, I would have lost that opportunity. So, my dear, you never know when. In fact, I was just like, I was like, oh my God, why? I wouldn't even think they would ask of this. But it's always good to do the right thing, and that's why we're having these conversations today. Because I do know that most women, most of us running as solopreneurs, as entrepreneurs, we don't take taxation issues seriously until we have, and we're looking for how to pay, how to get around those issues. But why we're having this issue is because our woman, you should have a vision for a global business. That is where the current reality has taken us to. That beyond the brick and mortar, once your business is digital, your business is global. So anyone can take an interest in your business. So why would you want to limit yourself by your inability or unwillingness to pay your tax? I know some of us will say, oh, but the government, they are not doing anything. It's not your business to withhold your own tax, because two wrongs don't make a right. It's your responsibility as a business owner to pay the requisite tax so that you're on the right side of the law. I tell people, Nigeria, you may feel Nigeria don't work. Like nothing works in Nigeria. But just be on the wrong side of the law. That is where you would know that Nigeria can implement laws. And that is not a place you want to really be in. So once more, thank you so much, Kelechi. We also want to know what default penalties are.
Okay. Yes. So for default, for personal income tax, we had mentioned that companies also have obligations. Limited liability companies have obligations to remit and pay on time payee of their staff. And then if you have a business name, you're required to file your taxes. You actually, as an individual, are to file your taxes before the end of March for every year. And then for payee, for staff, they need to have you need to have paid before the 10th of every month. You need to have computed, remitted to the government, and then move on. So where you've not done your necessary obligations, companies would pay 500,000 naira for defaults, while individuals will pay 50,000 naira. Then for company income tax, FIRS now, there's 25,000 for a late filing penalty for the first month, and then 5,000 naira for every month that you remain in default. And apart from that, you also pay 10% of the tax that was due. And then there's also, these are penalties, and then there's also an interest that will accrue. But the FIRS would determine that rate. Sometimes it ranges between 19% to 21% interest on the penalty. So if you have high numbers, it's better for you to comply. Then for value-added tax, it's 50,000 naira in the first month that you failed to comply, and then I think it goes down to 5,000 naira for every other month of default.
Okay, this is interesting. There's another question here related to what the question we're discussing, and she says recently non-governmental organizations, that CSOs, NGOs, have been mandated to get TIN numbers. In a situation where you have no projects ongoing, would you be expected to pay for the previous years, counting from the year the organization was registered?
Okay, so under Nigerian law, if you have an NGO, I had NGO, right? I had NGO.
Yes.
NGOs are not taxable. They're exempt from paying companies' income tax. But what the new law has said now is that even though you're not taxable, you need to file returns. They want to see your returns, so it's like annual returns. So if you obtain that TIN number, it will be for the purpose of filing those returns. It is, and then if there was going to be a penalty, it will be a penalty for
Late
default,
file.
for not filing, not for the fact that you made an income or you didn't make an income. As an NGO, you're not expected to make a profit. It's not for profit. So your income comes from sponsors, from donations, and it is expected that that income that is received is used for the purposes of which you formed that NGO in the first place.
Yeah.
So if you're running an NGO and you haven't done any business, this is a new development. Get your TIN number. The TIN number does not mean an assessment. And because you are not supposed to be, by the nature of your business, there's no profit. So there's not going to be an assessment for taxation per se. But if you fail to file your returns, then there will be a penalty for non-compliance of filing, which will be in
Yeah.
the range of this 50,000 that we just mentioned.
Yeah. And then also to add to what Kelechi said, I also know that if as an NGO you engage in business transactions where you charge people money. So for instance, as an NGO, you engage in consultancy and you're paid fees as a consultant, then that is a business transaction. It is now for profit. So you would be taxed on that. So you would really need to, so we have some social entrepreneurs who say, okay, we transact this business and then we put it back in. You need to be very careful because, like you said, your profits is what you pay tax on. So you need
Yes.
to also be very careful, clearly to have your documentation, be able to show all of this, and so that you don't run into that troubled waters. So I would advise that if you're in an NGO, please keep it safe and free from business transactions. I've had costs to
Yes.
remove everything that has to do with payment from my NGO structure and just make it completely a charity organization as it's meant to be. So
Exactly.
this is a word of advice for you so that you don't run into troubled waters.
That's tax advisory that you just gave now. That's the
Thank you.
tax advisory.
So I'm learning from experience. Oh my goodness. Oh, the women are just saying the tax are too much. The company report. So that's why we're having this conversation. Because I know that most of us have limited knowledge about this. We didn't know about the penalty. It's not optional. These are things that are legally binding. And you know how the law is. Maybe you're under the radar. And like Kelechi said, the day they remember you and come for you, don't call me. Oh.
No, call
That
me.
call Kelechi.
But we wouldn't want you to be that way anyway.
But we'll ask you, don't get to that point.
Yes.
Please, as a matter of principles, before it's March 30th every month, before the 30th of March every year, I try to do the assessment of my personal income tax and I pay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I away from all this wahala of they coming to test me and all that. I just calculate, do the right thing, and you go and pay. It's better. Just make it a point of duty. By the time you start paying this, it becomes a habit. It just becomes,
Yes.
and
And
then
interestingly, even as an entrepreneur, because I can understand that, you know, I'm running a small business that is coming up also, and there are a lot of expenses. There's just so many things coming. But interestingly, the law allows for expenses. So if you find that you have a revenue of, let me say, 10 million or 20 million, and you've made allowable expenses that would be recognized by the law, you can justify, you can show your receipts. You're not going to pay taxes on those expenses. They'll be deducted before your tax will be computed. So you find that it's not as big and scary as we think. And then if you even have some companies that you have done some supplies for and they have withheld tax, by the time you're deducting that tax that was withheld, sometimes you don't even have to pay too much. You know?
what you said now is so helpful. And it goes back to processes and documentation. So if you remember what we discussed in the earlier editions or episodes of the Friday Night Hangout, we talked about the importance of documenting, your receipts, your invoices. You won't even know if you're documenting. So you hear it again. It's coming out again from the taxation experts. Because you need to show evidence. And the only way you can show evidence is if you have documented your processes. So my dear,
Correct.
please, most of us just do transaction, no record, no nothing, just like that. Please, can we start documenting? Give an invoice, keep your receipt. We talked about using simple Excel just to do your inflow, outflow expenses. We said you can't do Excel, take a hardcover notebook, a ledger. It's so simple to do all of this. But you know what I thought about is that we're going to run a training on some of these processes for you. We're going to have a training on um, financial documentation, just the basics, so that you get to know how to do some of these things. Because if you want to grow your business, these are things that you need to do. Thank you so much, Kelechi. But before we're going to ask you to give us a wrap up. But before we do that, we want to take some announcements, and then we do that. Yes, people are revalidating. Documentation is key. Sleepy says FIRS is very mean with the penalty. Even with late filing, you will pay. They are not mean with the penalty. They just want us to do the right thing. And Ndeka says, please, can we get of businesses that are taxable? Because I need to know. So that's the question. Maybe in your wrap-up comments, you may address that. She's asking if there's how she can get a list of businesses that are taxable. So I
If
know
there's how to
she has
know,
already spoken about it here, but maybe in the wrap up you touch on it again. The businesses that are taxable.
okay.
So maybe in the your wrap up comments you can just touch on that again. So before we go to the wrap up comments, I just want to say to everyone here, thank you for staying through with. Have you gotten my Power Woman book? Have you gotten the Power Woman book? You need to get the Power Woman book if you're a woman or a man that really wants to go far. Today we talked about what vision do you have for your business, and I ask you, what vision do you have for yourself? What vision do you have for yourself? One of the things you learn with the Power Woman book is you learn how to build your skill sets in time management, effective leadership, even drawing up a very good vision, for the life that you want to live. So you can get the Power Woman book online. I copy or hard copy on my website, joyonyesoh.com. But remember that in this month of February, I'm giving out free copies. So today I'm going to give out 10 free copies, which is going to be the last copies
Wow.
we're going to give out on the Friday night out. Um, we've been giving out 10 free copies every week because a friend paid for 50 copies. So you're going to get the book free of charge today. And I appeal to you, if you've received a copy in the previous editions or episodes, please don't ask for one again today so the book can go round. It's just 10 copies. But starting from the month of March, if you purchase a hard copy of the Power Woman book or an e-copy of the Power Woman book, you automatically get to be registered for free into the Power Woman book club. Is someone excited? Yes, I'm starting a book club, the Power Woman book club, in the month of March. And membership is automatic with a purchase of the Power Woman book, either the soft copy or the hard copy. That's the only criteria for membership. So you can't just ask to be a member of the Power Woman Book Club. Your membership criteria is that you purchase a soft copy of the Power Woman book or a hard copy in the month of March. This is starting from the month of March. So starting from the month of March, you purchase a copy and you get to become part of the program. Now, we know that International Women's Day is coming up on the 8th of March. March is the month of women. Who is excited? I am super excited because there are lots of things that are going to happen in the month of March, even on the Friday night hangout. We are going to celebrate March like no other because March is our month. It's called the Women's Month. And so for the Friday night hangout, the team for Friday night hangout is going to be focusing on women in decision making and leadership. So for the month of March, we are going to be bringing on board women leaders and women decision makers who have broken grounds in their own sectors. You would not want to miss any episode in the month of March. I encourage you to make sure you turn up. We're having a super Amazon next week, Friday. I'm not going to let out her name now until Tuesday. And I tell you, you would want to be there. She's kickstarting the process of our conversation. And also, we're going to have the first session of the book reading on the 8th of March. It's going to happen by 7:30 p.m. through to 8:45 p.m. and is on the 8th of March, and it is completely free. It's a completely free webinar. And for this International Women's Day book reading episode webinar, all you need to do is, once we put out the link, we're going to take a limited number of women on ground, because we're going to be discussing time management skills of effective leaders. You will not want to miss that series, but we have limited seats. And so once we put out just watch out on Monday. The link is going to be up on the business page and also my personal Facebook page. And once we have the number of women we want on board, we will shut down, because we want it to be very interactive. It's a book reading, but it's going to be a hands-on book reading, question and answer for an hour 45 minutes. We're going to be looking at effective time management of effective leaders. Sorry, time management skills of effective leaders, and you wouldn't want to miss that. Barrister Kelechi, thank you so much. I hand over to you to give us your wrap-up comments. We're already running behind. We're running really late, and I wouldn't want to keep you more than necessary.
Thank you again for having me. It's been very interesting listening to the questions, being able to run through the basics of taxation. So I know that someone had wanted to know what kind of business you would run that you'd be required to that you would have tax obligations. So that would be, we had said for entrepreneurs, most commonly they run business names or limited liability companies, and both entities are subject to taxation in Nigeria. If I was to leave you with one comment, one last comment, it would be that, and I'm even going to read it from my slide, it would be that tax compliance can make or mar your business. You know, we already said earlier that you need to ask yourself what you're trying to achieve in a modern world. You know, so the assumption that your business is too small to be noticed by the relevant tax authorities for failing to comply it's archaic right now. It's an error, and it's actually a bit dangerous to believe that you can remain under the radar, especially with this internet, this Instagram. I mean, on Instagram now, the Federal Inland Revenue Authorities, the company in and Allied Matters, Corporate Affairs Commission, not the Company Allied Matters Act, they're on Instagram. You know, they're the Lagos State Inland Revenue Service. I know that they're on Instagram, and I don't know if they're there to watch you, but they're there. You know, so also we had mentioned that investors want to see proof of proper tax compliance, proper filings, you know, before committing to a business venture. And I even use myself as an example. I might, maybe because I'm an informed investor, even to drop 50,000 naira, if you're promising me that I would get a return on investment, I would want to see that you are tax compliant. It's one of the things I would want to see. You know, that would tell me that you're disciplined, that would tell me that you're compliant with the existing laws. And if there's any other regulatory compliance requirement in your industry, that you would carry it, you would adhere to it. And that would also tell me that there's no possibility of a regulator coming to seal up your business, and then I lose my hard-earned investment. I hope that's enough for today. And I hope everyone is going away with something. And I am available through Prof to respond to any questions at all.
Oh, thank you so, so, so much. Please tell us your business name and the contact number of your business name,
Okay. So,
your company, and your contact number so we can reach out to you.
okay, so the company is called Blackwood and Stone LP. I had said earlier that we're a tax and legal service firm. And our phone number is 080 205 61864. But you can also send emails, because emails are also convenient, to info at blackwoodstone, one word, .com. Info at blackwoodstone.com. Thank you,
Thank
Prof.
Thank you, Kelechi. I'm really so happy and excited. I'm always excited when I see women in their marks in a male-dominated field, and that's why I'm so happy to have you. And I hope you people are really encouraged. You know, she said first of all in her profile she's a taxpayer, and I'm also a taxpayer. So we're encouraging you to become taxpayers if you're not one, and to ensure that your business is tax compliant. The benefits far outweighs the disadvantage if there's any disadvantage at all. So the essence of this conversation today is to try to break down that complex, scary issue of taxation. And you would agree with me that Kelechi did a fantastic job of that. We're able to understand why we get all these stamp duties, charges on our phones after doing certain transactions. We now know the difference between the business structures and the taxes you're supposed to pay, and the company income tax, and then your personal tax as well. You know, so thank you so, so much for staying tuned. Thank you, Barrister Kelechi. Everyone is saying thank you. Please give us some love. Give her the Friday
Thank
night.
you.
Thank We're hoping that we can have you on this show some other time and we discuss on other areas of taxation, because after now I'm sure many of them will go and pay their taxes if they've not done so already, and they will have issues, and then you consult for some of us here as well. Thank you
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I'll let you go for now while we try and wrap up. Thank you. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed this segment. I did. I learned a number of things, and I hope you did learn a number of things as well. So, if you have not been paying your tax, I know we don't like to discuss finance, we don't like to discuss taxation. Pay your tax. There's so many benefits from paying your tax. And like I said, it's been a fun conversation. If you have further questions, Barrister Kelechi's number is out here in the screen, is on the chat box. Please don't hesitate to reach out to her. I'm definitely sure she can put you on the right track. Until I will see next week, please have fun. Do you. Do not be afraid to stand out from the crowd. Rest. Enjoy your weekend and keep smiling. Remember, I appreciate you. I love you. I celebrate you. I deeply, 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 deeply love you all for always coming up and staying through. I hope you had so much fun today. I did. And keep it a date with me next week, Friday, as we open up a new segment on the Friday night hangout. We'll be discussing women in leadership and decision making, and we have a power woman coming up. We're going to open with an explosive woman next week, Friday. It's a Women's Month from the 1st of March to the 31st of March. Have fun. God bless you. Thank you, Nasiba. Thank you, Madam Ajeni Kenchideka, Amy, Princess Iske, Jane Wosu, Theodora. I love you all. I love you. I love you. I love you. Confidence. Even if I've not called your name, just so that I love you so much. I'll see you next week, Fridays. I leave you with this music. Hey. All right. Happy weekend. Thank you, Adeze, for the background support to music. Thank you, Sarah Ugu, for studio setup and adverts. Thank you, Favor, for studio support and broadcast. Thank you, Success Marcos, for FNH logistics support. I love you all so much. Woo!